Sports with a Z and a T. We are back. My name is Bryce Zelinsky alongside Taylor Lattimore. If you remember what our voices sound like, congratulations. If you're new around these parts, this is Sports with a Z and a T presented by Godzilla Media, sponsored by John Stone Supply in Troy, Saving Face Barbershop up in Saratoga Springs, and Mohawk Honda. And it's been a while. Life happens. Summers have been extremely busy, and I know we have missed a lot, Taylor. Was not either of our choices. It was not a choice that we wanted to make, but it's something that we had to deal with. I'm hoping now that at least my wedding reception is over and maybe work is starting to calm down that we could do this weekly again. I'm house hunting, so you never know how that goes, but football is coming back, so we obviously want to be here for football. The second half of the MLB is coming. NBA will be here before you know it once again. But hope everybody's having a good summer. And Taylor, I know you've been busy as well, right? You've been you just got back from vacay.
Yes, I just got back from New Zealand, so that was fun.
New Zealand?
Yeah, well, my brother lives there.
Oh, I did not know that.
Yeah, so we went there, met my niece for the first time because she was born during COVID, so we haven't really been able to see her. So that was fun. It was a fun time. I literally got back today, so.
So you're a little jet lagged.
Yeah, if I seem a little tired, that's why. So.
Well, that's good because then I could just say whatever I want. It may not click with you. So let's get right to it, though, Taylor, because obviously
I do that anyway. But
I do, but that's okay. We're gonna move on. We're recording on Wednesday. This show will air on Thursday, which is not our normal recording time. For those that are new to Sports with the Z and a T, our normal recording time is on Tuesdays with a drop down date. Usually Wednesdays, but nonetheless, we are here on a Wednesday, and we just had the All-Star weekend, and I think it was a pretty well-run All-Star weekend, all things considered, for the MLB. I mean, you saw the home run derby that I swear was rigged, at least Pujols against Schwarber, because ESPN forgot a damn home run that would have sent it to overtime. They just wanted to see Pujols in, but I digress. It was a great final between Julio Rodriguez and Juan Soto, and Juan Soto won the home run derby. And then, of course, the American League continued their tear in the All-Star game, beating the National League once again. The National League has not won the All-Star game since 2012, so a 10-year run for the American League. But really, the biggest talk around All-Star weekend wasn't really the All-Stars. It involved one of the All-Stars, but it did not involve the All-Star game, and that is Juan Soto, Taylor. Obviously, talk has been rampant for a while now that, Juan Soto is probably not going to be back with Washington. Is he going to be traded? Probably not. And then last week, bombshell report came out that he turned down a 15-year, $440 million deal to stay with Washington. Look, if I ever had the cojones to deny that kind of money, that's a bold move, Cotton, but I guess that, it's going to pay off because he has top contenders lining up to get him. And I think the Nationals at this point are like, what do we have to do? In two of the past 4 years now, they've offered deals to Bryce Harper and now Juan Soto, only to see them walk out the door. Bryce Harper did walk out the door. Juan Soto will walk out the door, whether it be via trade or free agency. But the report was that the Nationals are now shopping Juan Soto, and there are a couple teams that are lining up to get Juan Soto. But the reason why we're going to talk about it is obviously because team numero uno is a team that I really don't think needs Juan Soto, but why not? Because it's the Yankees, and they happen to be the best team in baseball this year. Yeah, I said it. The Yankees are right.
Good to hear.
Yeah, well, don't get used to it. You still got a second half of baseball to go. But you look at this Juan Soto trade market, right, Taylor? And there's not many teams, first of all, that have the package to entice Washington to give up Soto, because this is like, as some of the GMs are putting it and some of the insiders are putting it, like, it will cost a team basically 2 farm systems. That's how much they're going to ask. They want a young MLB star, MLB ready prospects. They want somebody to take on Patrick Corbin's contract. Yankees, Blue Jays, White Sox, Mets, Dodgers, Giants have been probably the names in the forefront. I kind of laugh at the Mets because, like the Phillies, I don't see the Nationals trading Juan Soto to a team in the division. Now, does Juan Soto maybe pick a team in the division via free agency? If he gets to that point, that's a different story. But the Nationals are not going to trade anybody in the end, trade anybody with Juan Soto. They're just not going to do that. So that eliminates the entire division, which leaves, to me, honestly, in my opinion, two realistic teams. That would be the Yankees and the Cardinals, in my opinion. And we're going to start with the Yankees first. And the reason why I say the Yankees and Taylor, I'm sure you'll follow this up with pretty much the same thoughts, because I'm sure you would just love a 23-year-old Juan Soto to pair with Aaron Judge and Giancarlo Stanton. I mean, that's just me.
Who wouldn't?
Right. I don't think anybody
no.
would sit there and say, no, Bryce, no, absolutely not. A package that would include, like, you look at the Yankees and they have obviously top prospect in Anthony Volpe. That's the eye in the sky. You have Jason Dominguez, who's the outfielder. You have a left-handed pitcher in Ken Waldichuk, who's probably going to be on the Nationals radar as well. And then you're probably thinking probably a major leaguer or two. Are the Yankees able to ship off Joey Gallo? Get him, outside of the picture. Take on Joey Gallo's contract. I mean, it's not going to move the needle in value, but
no.
They're obviously going to be They're obviously going to be looking to shop that. A guy that you also look at, like a young, proven player, Gleyber Torres, 25 years old. The Yankees might counter by substituting prospects like maybe Oswald Peraza for Volpe, catcher Austin Wells for Dominguez. But you get the idea of what it would take, Taylor, for the Yankees to land a guy like Soto. It's going to take a lot. But I think if you are the Yankees and you're Brian Cashman, who typically refuses to let go of the prospects that he has put a lot of time in. I mean, look at Gleyber Torres, right? I mean, look at Miguel Andujar. A lot of these guys that they have sat there, Aaron Hicks, a lot of these guys that they have just sat on forever and have allowed their trade value to be as high as possible, only for them to go back down. Some of them to go back down to the minors. They've been so bad. I don't think Andujar should be down there, but that's another conversation for another day. But when you look at this Yankees team, you're on the fence about Aaron Judge. You're hoping Aaron Judge isn't on the fence, but every time he talks to the media, it sounds like he's more and more on the fence about staying in New York. This is the year to go and get it. And if you have any chance of keeping Aaron Judge, number one, you have to win. You have to win, or Aaron Judge is not going to believe in the future of the New York Yankees. So why not? I mean, and look, he's 23 years old. You're getting a guy that you could build your outfield with Aaron Judge around for the next 10. I mean, Aaron Judge is 31, probably getting an 8-year deal, at least the next 8 years. And then when Judge moves on, you still have Soto. So this is a no-brainer to me. The Yankees have one of the most rich farm systems in the league at this point. This, to me, is honestly a move that they should probably seriously consider, and I think they will. It's just a matter of, are they going to be willing to give up what the Nationals are going to be asking for, which is Kane's ransom? It's kind of like the Kevin Durant of the MLB at this point. It's going to be nearly impossible to find a trade partner with the price the way it is.
Yeah, and when it comes to, the Yankees and Cashman, on the surface, it's like, like you said, you broke it down pretty well. Like, obviously, you'd love to have a guy like Soto. Like, he's not a guy where you're like, oh, no, I don't want him because he's old. I don't want to give him a long contract.
23.
Like, yeah, exactly. Like, he's the kind of guy who's going to get, like, that 10-year or more contract at, $400 million. Like, he's going to be there for a while, hopefully, if you get him. And you're right. You're also trying to entice Aaron Judge to stay because you're not entirely sure what that situation is. It's up in the air. And it comes down to whether or not Cashman is willing to finally like make that big move, make that Yankees, that classic Yankees swing for the fence, get the big guy, spend the money. Which he
and that's not really like the classic Yankees anymore. That's not what the Yankees are anymore. They don't do that.
It's not Cashman's Yankees. Cashman's Yankees are, build the farm system, have one of the best farm systems out there, along with having the star guys like Aaron Judge and Stanton. Like, is Stanton the guy you're because you invested so much money when you got Stanton, and so like you tied yourself up with him. So do you want to tie yourself up again? Because obviously you're looking to tie yourself up with Aaron Judge. So do you go the full like all in for the next 5 to 10 years by getting Soto out there as well? I think obviously you think that it's worth it because Soto's good enough and that you could make a powerhouse there and your outfield would be set and you'd have at least two, and as long as you have Stanton and hopefully Judge, you have 3 like really superstars that can hopefully be hitting for you. Yeah, and I mean, if you could move off of Joey Gallo as well, that would be like icing on the cake.
The only flip side is very rarely do you see teams have 2 mega deal guys on the same team. It's one thing to have, a guy making $330 million and another guy making, $150, something like that. But this is a Juan Soto who's going to break the bank. I mean, he turned down 15,440. And this is Aaron Judge that, I mean, gosh, if you locked up Aaron Judge in the offseason like you probably should have, this wouldn't be a conversation. But the other flip side is, can you afford it? Because guess what? Aaron Judge is going to be looking for damn near 400 too. So are you going to give 2 outfielders 400 and 440 for a combined? I mean, just to round it out, are you going to give 2 guys $900 million to play baseball for you in pinstripes for the next 8 to 15 years? I mean, that's the tough call that you have to make.
Yeah, exactly. And do you want to be paying basically 3 guys that like big contract and getting rid of your farm system or most of it, your significant chunk of the top guys of your farm system to make this trade happen? And I don't really see it happening because of the way that Cashman would have to completely change his MO that he's been doing for the past how many years now, where he's been slightly more conservative and tried to build at least a little bit. He went out and got Stanton, but like, is that it for big acquisitions?
I mean, the serious question, though, is should Cashman act like his job is on the line? Because let's not forget, I mean, the pressure has been on Cashman and Boone up until this year. And this is an organization, granted, Cashman kind of made the decision, but, the hierarchy. Boy, was that a tongue twister. In Steinbrenner fired Girardi with 1 game to go until making a World Series appearance. So when you think of it that way, I mean, if Cashman's trying to save his own ass, yeah, you should probably make this move. However, that is a lot to give up. It's tough for me.
But the thing is, if the Yankees were not doing well, I could see a lot more pressure being on Cashman to make a move to save his job. But the Yankees are the best team in baseball. So I don't think, like, if they go and they lose in the playoffs, that's devastating because it would be a classic Yankees move, do well in the regular season, and this time be the best team, which we haven't done in a few years, be the best team and then come out in the playoffs and lose. That would be devastating. And at that point, maybe you look at Cashman, but I don't think you can say that he's done a bad job seeing how, the position that the Yankees are in right now. And so with that in mind, I don't think that there's as much if the Yankees were down, if the Blue Jays or whoever, the Rays were in front of the Yankees and the Yankees were fighting for a playoff spot and they didn't look like the team that could make it over the hump, then I think there'd be more pressure on him to go out and get Soto and really push him over the hump. But right now, they look like a team that can make it all the way to the World Series and win it. Like they honestly do because of the way that they've been playing. And
Yeah,
so
unfortunately.
yeah, so I don't know if there's a lot of pressure on him or anyone in the organization besides winning a World Series. Like it's World Series or bust for sure. Obviously, like it's always that way with the Yankees, but especially now being the best team in baseball, it's World Series or bust. So is that enough pressure to force his hand? I don't know that it is, because he values the farm system so much, and I can't disagree with him. Having a good farm system is a great way to keep that level of consistency going. So like, even if they don't win this year, they want to keep winning down the line. And you could also argue that getting Soto would do that, but then Soto, blocks you up financially for a while. You're paying three guys like upwards of $100 million. And so assuming you can retain Judge, if you can't retain Judge, then obviously like we don't know behind the scenes. We don't know behind the scenes whether Judge has been like, I really like, I don't think I'm staying. Like, you give me what you like. I don't know that Judge is going to stay. Maybe they have more inclination than we do about the status of Judge. If Judge is planning on leaving, then I say go out and get Soto.
Well, the other side of that is, does going and getting Soto hinder you from finishing the deal with Judge? And how is Judge going to view a Soto trade? Obviously, in the short term, he will be obviously ecstatic. I mean, Soto within that Yankees lineup is just, I mean, chef's kiss, cherry on top, to be honest with you. I mean, but at the same time, is Judge also going to sit there and think, well, damn, they got my replacement. I'm out of here. So, I mean, the Yankees just got to be careful there. They really got to be careful. In my opinion, this is just an added layer of the consequences of not locking up Aaron Judge this offseason when they could have for a lot less than what he is going to demand now and will get. If he doesn't get it from the Yankees, he will get it from somewhere else. And that is the predicament the Yankees find themselves in heading into the second half of the season, where they do indeed have a commanding 13-game lead in the division over the Tampa Bay Rays.
I don't want to jinx it, but I feel like
it's a wrap.
They're sitting pretty, they're sitting pretty in the division.
It's about as much of a wrap as it can be,
barring a catastrophic slide,
which I'd be all here for. I'm not gonna lie to you, but
it would not surprise me the way that the Yankees, have been doing things the past couple of years that they would slide. I'm a really pessimistic Yankees fan. You can tell.
I know you've been hurt.
I'm still not convinced that they won't lose sometime in the playoffs before they even make it to the World Series. But
on the flippity,
that's neither here nor there.
On the flippity flip, my Phillies, Bryce Harper absolutely annihilated his hand on a 98-mile-an-hour fastball that Blake Snell kindly threw right at him. And he will hopefully be back in mid-August. Phillies holding serve. They hold the final wild card spot. And, if they make some nice trades at the deadline, I see them making the playoffs for a first time in about 11 years. So we are hoping here over in Fightin's land. The Mets, I'm waiting for that collapse, the inevitable. The Braves are red hot. But there's a lot of good baseball right now, Taylor. If you look at the MLB right now, there is a lot of good teams out there. It's going to be interesting as the trade deadline approaches, which we will surely keep you guys updated on.
And can we talk about possibly the two best players in baseball or close to it being on a god-awful Angels squad?
What the hell? 20 and a half. They're 39 and 53. 20 and a half games out, obviously. I mean, you're in the division with the Astros. They're way back. But when you even look at the wild card, the Angels find themselves 10 and a half back on the third spot. Only three teams, Detroit, Kansas City, and Oakland, are worse in the American League. I've had conversations with my buddy for a while now. It just amazes me. You have to try to be that bad when you have the two best players in baseball on the same team, and you're 14 games under 500. What are you doing? And they're playing. They're healthy.
Talk about
and they're playing well.
I know. Talk about Juan Soto, not wanting
Soto
to stay
and
with
Bryce Harper were teammates.
Wanting to stay in Washington. I'm like, Trout, Ohtani, get out of there. Like, just get out of there.
Trout needs to come home. Trout needs to come home and pair up with Bryce.
Trout needs
Please.
to leave so badly. Like, he is borderline irrelevant, and he's possibly the best player in all of baseball.
Well, and that's
Shohei Ohtani is.
That's the other conversation, right? Like, Mike Trout is so good, but nobody appreciates it because nobody's ever talking about the Angels with any relevancy. He's not even the most relevant team in his city.
Yep.
And there's just no marketing there for him. Half the country's in bed before he sees the first pitch. And, it's frustrating. Like, the Dodgers are marketable. You know about the Dodgers because they're good, even though they're on the West Coast. You know about the Giants. You know about how well the Mariners are playing. Hell, Julio Rodriguez just damn near won the home run derby, had a great final with Juan Soto. Not many people on the East Coast, unless you really follow baseball, knew about Julio Rodriguez until the home run derby. But now everybody loves him. Mike Trout has never had that exposure on the East Coast. I'll tell you this, though. When the Phillies played the Angels back in late May, early June, it was around that time. Mm-hmm. They had just fired Girardi. That place was sold out because Mike Trout was coming to town. I mean, he's a Philly kid. But, I mean, if he came back to Philly, and I'm just using this as an example because of his love for the city of Philadelphia, as, I could appreciate. He would be so marketable. Bryce Harper, Mike Trout, the Philadelphia Phillies, Citizens Bank Ballpark, the East Coast. You don't hear nothing. And Shohei, if he went to like San Francisco, how much more relevant would he be in San Francisco than he is with the Angels right now? Or the Padres. If Shohei goes to the Padres, even Seattle, go up to Seattle, be the next follow in Ichiro's footsteps, be the next Japanese star up there. I mean, look, Shohei's going to leave. There's not a chance in hell Shohei stays. But
I would hope.
I would hope. But
I mean,
at what point, like Mike Trout, that's going to be a Juan Soto-like trade. I mean, he's young. You just don't realize it. And he has a massive contract that they're going to have to move. And they're going to ask for a king's ransom.
Yeah, as they should, because he is the best player in baseball. Or I think Ohtani might be, just because of the fact that he can do the pitching and he's a fantastic hitter as well. I was in LAX and one of my connecting flights, and I'm like walking down, and I'm seeing, just like ads and stuff, and you see Mookie Betts, and you're like, oh, Mookie Betts, cool, the Dodgers. And then I kept walking, and I looked back.
The best player in the city.
I know. I looked back and I saw Trout. And I was like, oh yeah, he's here. He technically plays in Anaheim, Los Angeles, same type of thing. And I was like, oh yeah, he's here. Like, it's just like a side.
That's not how it's supposed to be. That's not how it's supposed to be.
Sorry, Siri just popped up for no reason at all. He's like a side show, which is just
it's a shame.
It's a shame. It really is. I really wish that he and Ohtani would get out of there, just request trades and just leave, because they're going to get so much more exposure and they're going to make it like these guys are so good and playing so well. They could be instant game changers for a contending team. Instant, especially Ohtani. I mean, Trout too, but like just the way that Ohtani is so like, he's such a utility guy. Like a guy who can pitch that well and also hit. It's like, it's unheard of. And so it would just be so much awesome. It would be so much more cool if he was just on literally almost any other team.
Like the Phillies. Yeah, no, you're right. I'm unbearable. You missed me.
You are unbearable.
Thank you. Bless you. Let's switch because, yes, it's late July-ish, but training camps are starting, Taylor, in the NFL, and that is so hard to believe. We are soon going to have our fantasy football special. That will probably be the first week. Can't wait. Can't wait. And
favorite show.
Yeah.
I want it. I want to just switch it over to from you to me.
If I ever do lose this, which I won't, And nobody's getting it until they win. I'm not returning it. I'm bringing it draft night.
I'm not returning it.
I'm not returning it, though. Let's be clear. I'm keeping this until a new champion is crowned, which it won't because it'll be me again. But if I did, I'd like it to stay within the show.
Oh, well, thanks.
And I would be upset, but not disappointed to hand it off to you, which is as big of a compliment as I could give you.
It would be really fun if we were in the finals and just like
that would be cool. That would be cool.
I don't remember where I finished. I think I lost.
You kind of got screwed with injuries there, kid.
Oh well, no, I drafted Christian McCaffrey, and so of course I got screwed with injuries. It's if you draft him, we'll talk about it. We'll talk about it. Yeah.
But we also have a week where we will have our college football playoff preview. And it won't impact this year, but my God, I have to deal with UCLA and USC. That, by the way, that's just gross. I'm not that doesn't worry me as a Penn State fan because Penn State, Ohio State, Michigan, they're all better than those two.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe USC changes with Lincoln Riley there now, but it's just gross. I don't want USC and UCLA. I don't want Chip Kelly's ass in the Big Ten. Stop it. That's just such a crime to me. I don't know, but we'll get to that too. A lot of things to look at in college football this year, and then we will obviously do our NFL preview, which honestly, those three shows are probably my favorite shows to do.
Yeah,
they were probably the most enjoyable shows to do last year, and I think they are going to be just as enjoyable this year. But the reason why I mention that is that we are going to do some quick summer NFL power rankings. We have about, I'd say, 20 minutes or so, which is plenty of time to look at some power rankings here, break down some NFL, and see what we're looking at, the landscape, if you will, of the NFL, because most of the free agents, there are some late veterans that might get added on. There might be a Jimmy Garoppolo trade, which we'll get to here in a second, that may happen as he now has permission to seek a trade from the 49ers. But other than that, most of the landscape is there. We had the Baker Mayfield trade that we'll talk to you about here in a little bit, if we think that matters or not. We'll talk about some rising teams, some sinking teams, some surprise teams that may be this year's Bengals, who's going to win the Super Bowl. We're all going to get to that. But let's look at some of these rankings, and I am looking at, Taylor, for your reference, Pro Football Focus's latest rankings that was released earlier this summer. Number one, Buffalo Bills, which, look, I get. I'm not there with the Bills. I'm kind of at the point where you got to beat the champ or be clearly better than the champ to dethrone the champ. I would put the Rams at number one. I don't see any reason why the Rams haven't gotten worse. And they still might bring on OBJ. They might still bring back OBJ. So let's pump the brakes here.
It's taken a while to sort
that
out
has.
OBJ.
I feel like we talked about
weird.
that in the spring, and it still hasn't happened.
It's just like sitting there. Like what is
because
happening?
Because he probably knows that he's going to be back with the Rams, and the Rams are just chilling. But look, there are big time expectations in Western New York for the first time, I think, ever. The Bills with Josh Allen, that's probably the biggest strength of this team is the fact that this offense is going to be a well-oiled machine. I look at the weakness, though, that the Bills have, and that's the offensive line. If you can't protect Josh Allen, eventually your quarterback is – look, Josh Allen has been able to escape and make things happen out of not much because of his mobility. But all it takes is one, man. All it takes is one. Carson Wentz was an MVP candidate until he blew out his knee. Lamar hasn't been the same since he's been hurt. RG3's career was ruined because he got hurt. I'm not trying to compare Josh Allen to those three, but I'm giving you examples of it happening. So if you're not able to protect Josh Allen, you may not like the end result there. I'm not saying it's going to happen. I'm not wishing it on Josh Allen, but that's the weakness that you have. I mean, look, you look at any big-time Super Bowl champion, you look at the top contending teams that we're going to go through outside of the Bills, they have good offensive lines. You win football games in postseason time. You make Super Bowl runs because you can protect the quarterback. What are you shaking your head no at?
No, I'm just looking down at the.
I was like, yes, screw you.
Number 10 on this list. I'm like, no.
All right, well, we'll get there. We'll get there. But the Bills at number 1, I understand it, but I'm not agreeing with it.
Well, apparently their rankings just hinge on Von Miller, because that's the biggest change that from the Rams to the Bills.
Von Miller's good, but he ain't Von Miller that you think it is.
No, I mean, he played very well during that Super Bowl run, but like it was also, like he's playing alongside Aaron Donald, so it's like most of the offensive line's problems, they're going to be focused on stopping Aaron Donald, the possibly greatest defender ever. And so, Von Miller, you're probably going to see a lot more single coverage there when you're alongside guys like Von Miller or Aaron Donald. So I don't know that it moves the needle that much. But the last game we saw the Bills play was epic, and not many teams can go toe to toe with Kansas City like that. Just in that particular game, Kansas City was on fire, and the Bills also were on fire, and were able to keep pace, down to the last 13 seconds. Couldn't get a stop, but, that's neither here nor there. That's not on Josh Allen, and Josh Allen is only going to be a rising star that gets better. And assuming he doesn't get injured, like you said, I think he's a tough guy. So even when he does take some hits, he usually can withstand them. So I understand why they put them there, but I do agree with you that, until they're dethroned, I feel like the Rams, like the Super Bowl winner, should almost always.
Yeah, they got the Rams and they don't even have the Rams at 2. They have the Rams at 4. Yeah. They have the Buccaneers ahead of the Rams, which look, I think the Bucs got worse. I really do. I think losing,
they lost Gronk, for sure.
Well, you lost Gronk. You lost a good chunk of your offensive line. You lost.
You're going in. Godwin's hurt right now, going into the season. So who knows how long they're going to be out.
Brady had 1 foot out. Yep. I don't know. Like, you have a head coaching change. Granted, it will be Byron Leftwich, and it should be a smooth transition, but you never know. You just don't know. So I question the Tampa Bay Bucks here, ranked at number 2. The Chargers at 3. Look, I like the Chargers. I do. But like, they look, they made a great addition with JC Jackson at cornerback. They obviously traded for Khalil Mack. That defensive line is going to be filthy. I like the Chargers a lot, but Justin Herbert will have to grow up a lot for them to be the 3rd best team in the league. Look, Austin Eckler is good at running back. Keenan Allen's another year older. Mike Williams is good, not great. Joshua Palmer is their 3rd wide receiver. You have Gerald Everett as your tight end. An okay offensive line, not great. They rebuilt it last year. Slater, Feller, Lindsley. But like I said with, the Bills, I just don't understand, the draw here when it comes to protecting Herbert, allowing him to grow. I mean, there's weapons around him, but this is a very good team, but let alone a loaded AFC West. Are the Chargers the best team in that division? I don't think so.
I'm not sure. I do really like the Chargers.
I do. I do. Don't get me wrong. I like them. But I don't think they're the best team in that division, which is not knocking them. That's not a knock on the Chargers, but there are better teams in the division, I think.
Yeah, well,
one being Denver.
I think Denver, they're not ranking them as high just because of the fact that, new team, new quarterback. You want to see how they are. I'm sure that they will rise in the rankings come a couple weeks into the season. Kansas City, they lost a huge piece in Tyreek Hill, so you don't know how that offense is going to look when Juju Smith-Schuster is possibly your best receiver. And you're relying on a rookie, Sky Moore. So I'm sure that that's why they're knocking on them. And the Chargers seemingly only got better. They didn't lose any huge pieces, I don't think. And so they kind of, and obviously a lot of people are really, really in on Herbert, and think he's one of the best quarterbacks. And so do I. I agree. I think he's
I like Herbert. I do.
Top 5 quarterback in the league, I think. And so he's getting there. And I think that this team will go as far as he takes them.
But third, better than the Rams?
No, I mean, no.
No, not there yet. Not there yet.
Not the team that won the Super Bowl. Like, come on.
Not there yet. We already talked about the Rams because of where they weren't. They are at 4. 5 is Green Bay. Look, I mean, you and I have talked about the Packers leading up to the draft and what they had to do to get better. They did not get better. No. They got a lot worse. Losing Devontae Adams will do that to you. But when Alan Lazard and Randall Cobb are your top 2 wide receivers and you're banking on Christian Watson to step up, stop it. I mean, look, Aaron Rodgers is Aaron Rodgers. I get it. I do. Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon is probably one of the best 1-2 punch in the NFL. If not one, they're definitely top 2. But this defense leaves a lot to be desired. They were much better last year. Jair Alexander's good. Rasul Douglas was a great story. I like Amos and Savage in the secondary, but they don't have much of a pass rush. They can't get to the quarterback, and they continuously disappoint late. I don't like the Packers here at 5 at all. I don't even know if they're a top 10 team.
Listen, their wide receiver core is pitiful. Like maybe Watson comes out and he has just immense, chemistry with Aaron Rodgers.
Still not going to be Devontae Adams.
Exactly. You lost the best receiver in football and you didn't replace him. You replaced him with a rookie. Like you don't have anything.
When you're in win now mode, trying to squeeze out one last ring with Rodgers, it makes no sense. None.
Yeah, exactly.
None.
So I don't trust that receiving core at all. And we've seen time and time again, when Aaron Rodgers doesn't have the support of a guy he really, really trusts, like a Devontae Adams, he can, the offense can sputter. And obviously, I think, when we talk about fantasy, the Dylan and Aaron Jones combo is going to be key because I think, Aaron Jones will have to be involved in the passing game because they don't have a lot of anything in the passing game. So I think he's going to get a ton of receiving work, but still, like when you're relying on your running back to also be possibly your best wide receiver.
Yeah, well, and that's just it. So because of losing, and I know this is bringing in fantasy and that's going to be a whole other show, but I'm expecting more 2 running back sets. Aaron Jones is going to be used out wide while A.J. Dillon's in the backfield. Aaron Jones is going to be thrown all over the field.
I would think.
That's the only answer I got because, how much can you trust Christian Watson, Alan Lazard, and Randall Cobb, who's about ready to go into a senior retirement home soon?
1 million years old.
Jesus.
Yeah, so I can't see them being like borderline top 10 for me. Like I don't even think I'd have them.
I don't consider they're not immediate. I mean, maybe when I actually write it out, maybe they're in the back end, but just in top 5, hell no.
No,
this is comical.
I'm looking at teams where I'm like, I would put them in the top 10. I'd put them in the top 10, and I would move the Packers out. It's just the nature of the beast. I don't think they belong there.
Let me guess. One of them was the Colts. Kidding.
No, I'm not crazy. I think that they're top 15, maybe 15, but like I don't think they're as far down as this ranking probably has them. I haven't even looked at the bottom because I'm sure that they're like
probably
25.
They're projected top 5 pick. I don't know. We'll get there. This one to me is almost as more comical than the Packers, Taylor. The Cleveland Browns at 6. Like, are you considering that Deshaun Watson is playing a full season? Because anybody with any common sense whatsoever knows damn well that Deshaun Watson's not playing a full year, if at all.
That's the face
you're starting Jacoby Brissett.
It was the Cleveland. That's why I made that face earlier. When I was like questioning. It wasn't questioning you. I was questioning how high they had the Cleveland Browns.
You're 8 with Jacoby Brissett. You're 8-9. That's what you are. You're 8-9, 9-8. You're teetering, tottering. Your defense will win you some games. You have some weapons that may make some plays for him. You have, this was the other running back combination that I was talking about, by the way, Taylor.
Obviously. They're probably number one for me.
Chubb and Hunt. I mean, between Chubb and Hunt and Jones and Dillon, I'm open to conversation on both of them. But look, the weapons are there. I mean, I'm not so sure I would have given David Njoku the contract you gave him, but that's just me. But I mean, you have Amari Cooper now. You kind of revamped the offense a little bit. Look, if Deshaun Watson was playing, yeah, they are right there. They are right there. But I mean, that can be the only reason why they put them here at 6 is if they are expecting Deshaun Watson to play 75% or more of the games. Even then, they're not that high. Deshaun Watson, I really think, is going to miss the entire year. I've heard he should, but I've heard between 4 and 8 games. Even then, like, the Browns it might be too late.
And yeah, in my opinion, if you're going to suspend a guy for an entire year for betting when he was on injured reserve,
right. Like you're playing, you're suspending Calvin Ridley for a year, but giving Deshaun Watson 4 to 8 games. Like,
who possibly has 22 charges.
Let's get our priorities straight a little bit.
22 sexual assault charges, but you're going to give him 4 to 6 games. No, that better not. That better not happen. He better get the whole year.
That makes no sense. No, it makes no sense.
Wait, what precedent? You can sexually assault women, but you can't bet. No. Can't bet. Even when you're not playing.
Can't bet on yourself. You can't Pete Rose that. No.
He's not even betting on himself. He was just betting on his team.
He was betting on the Falcons. I think it was like Falcons money line, which he's
at
home on IR.
He lost that bet anyway.
Right. I mean, he has millions of dollars. Let him have some fun while he's on the couch with
It's not like he knows any insider information. Like, maybe, but like not really. Like, what insider information could he possibly know that's going to be like, oh, the Falcons are definitely winning this game?
Matt Ryan's going to throw another interception. Great. Perfect.
He probably would more money if he bet against them last year.
They are horrible, and they are going to be horrible again this year. Number 7 puts a big smile on my face, and they are just, it's just beautiful to see the Philadelphia Eagles. And I'm telling you, Taylor, like, and I know there's a big if, but if Jalen Hurts takes that next step, I mean, and if you've seen pictures of Jalen Hurts, he has bulked up. He's been working out.
Don't bruise the internet for pictures of Jalen Hurts. Sorry. We know what you do with your free time, but
drool over this Eagles drool all over this Eagles roster, because that's true.
Jalen Hurts shirtless working out. That's your search history.
How do you know? It's supposed to be a secret between us. Jeez.
The whole world knows, and by that I mean the
4 people that listen to us.
After we've been on hiatus.
I was going to say, we kind of need to build back our fan base. But no, look, this Philadelphia Eagles team, man, I mean, I'm not saying this because I'm a Birds fan. If Jalen Hurts can take that next step, watch out, because they have a great running back group in Miles Sanders and Kenny Gainwell. Nick Sirianni obviously did wonders with this team when they finally realized that running the ball may have been a good idea. They now have one of the best wide receiver groups in the league. And if anybody remembers, I lost my ever-loving mind at the draft party.
I remember.
A.J. Brown to pair with Devontae Smith and Kez Watkins.
Yeah, I'm just happy that you decimated the Titans wide receiver.
There you go. Yeah, the Titans are going to be dog shit this year.
Yep.
Dallas Goedert
Love it. Love to see
is
it.
a top 5 tight end. This offensive line is, in my opinion, the best in football. Jason Kelsey at center, Isaac Seumalo, Lane Johnson, Landon Dickerson, Jordan Mailata, and this defense got better. There was a weakness on this defensive team. They got better. I mean, first of all, taking Nakobe Dean in the third, fourth round is an absolute steal. You got Jordan Davis, who was the defensive player of the year last year in college football. To pair him with Fletcher Cox and Javon Hargrave, got Brandon Graham back. You brought in Hassan Reddick in free agency, brought in Kaiser White in free agency. They paired James Bradbury. They took James Bradbury from the Giants and paired him across. Oh, Slay and Bradbury. They brought Jaquiski Tart from San Francisco. Dude, I am telling you, this Eagles team is going to surprise a lot of people this year. It makes me so gaga just thinking about it. Oh, I can't wait. I can't wait, Taylor. I hope you're as excited as I am about my Eagles. Probably not, but I understand why you wouldn't be. But
I'm definitely not, but no, it's a good team. It's a good roster. Beautiful. It's a very good roster, in fact.
It is.
Great.
God bless Howie Roseman. Honestly,
draft was one of the best. I think. Top tier draft, probably top 5 for sure, if not top 3 even. You could push it just from getting who they got when they got them. And I mean, in the middle of the draft, you traded for AJ Brown, so you essentially added him in the draft too, if you want to look at it that way. So if you pair him with everything that they've got there, obviously if Hurts takes the next step, if he can throw consistently from the pocket as well as use his feet and run, then he's as dangerous as any quarterback in the league. And again, I know we're not doing the fantasy now, but come fantasy time, Jalen Hurts.
Yeah, we're gonna be talking a lot of. There's gonna be a lot of stock in this Eagles offense for various reasons.
Might be the number 1 quarterback next year, just because of the fact that he's gonna be adding touchdowns with his legs and throwing. Hopefully,
there's a lot of value there, and we will get to it all.
So I like where they are there. I don't have a problem with it at all.
Cincinnati at 8. I feel like that's a little low. But I understand it. Maybe they expect a little bit of a downgrade for them. Obviously, Jesse Bates is probably going to be traded. Speaking of Jesse Bates and the team we were just talking about, the Eagles are actually in on Jesse Bates, and if they could get it and Jesse Bates is from the Philadelphia area, that would just be cherry on top there. But I like the Bengals a lot. The Chiefs are right there. Look, not having Tyreek Hill, that offense, I mean, you're replacing Tyreek Hill with Marquez Valdes-Scantling and Juju Smith-Schuster, so I question what Patrick look, if anybody can make something out of nothing, it'll be Patrick Mahomes. But I'm interested to see Patrick Mahomes without Tyreek Hill for the first time in his career. You know what I mean? Like, Patrick Mahomes has to reinvent himself as well as Tyreek. So I'm interested to see what the Chiefs do, but they're still the Chiefs. They're still Patrick Mahomes. They still have Travis Kelce. I think it's I mean, look, you brought in Ronald Jones to pair with Clyde Edwards-Helaire too, but I think it's noticeable to me and worth noting that they chose to extend and keep Travis Kelce and trade away Tyreek Hill.
Yeah,
I think that kind of shows you where the value of the tight end is now over a wide receiver that could stretch the field.
Well, I mean, if you look at it in this perspective, as like Kelce might be the best tight end in football. He might be. If he's not, he's definitely top 2. Like I would argue. Maybe you put Mark Andrews above him if you're so inclined.
No, I wouldn't.
Maybe you're a Kittle guy and you think Kittle's up there.
No, I think Kelce's the best tight end in football.
Yeah, and so like that there's value there, and Tyreek Hill is one of the best wide receivers. He's not the best wide receiver. And you can replace wide receivers, I think, or that's what they're banking on at least, is that they can take Juju and they can take Sky Moore and that Patrick Mahomes will make them better. And maybe that Tyreek Hill, his speed is undeniable, obviously. Like, he catches the ball in space and he can create more than, and that's the thing, is like Patrick Mahomes how much of his success was also a product of, just get the ball to Tyreek Hill and he does the rest. We're going to see that. We're going to see. Is it him putting them in position to get those passes along with the scheme and the route running? Like, is Juju Smith-Schuster and Sky Moore going to go off and have great seasons with Patrick Mahomes and he can throw for 40 plus touchdowns? We don't know. And that's why they're ranked as low as they are. Obviously, if Tyreek Hill was still there, I think that they'd be ranked again high, maybe even top 3 like they normally are because of the fact that they have Patrick Mahomes and everyone puts stock in how good he is. But we'll see. And I think that's why they're low, is just right now people are just like, don't really know like how the offense is going to look. It's completely different. Like you said,
Andy Reid's going to have to invent the offense. Mahomes has to adjust, and it'll be interesting.
You can't just say, fuck it, Tyreek's down there and chuck the ball. That's not going to happen this year. So
10's a little comical. I don't see why Miami. I mean, as long as Tua Tagovailoa's quarterback, I don't see that at all. We'll go through these a little quickly here because I do want to get to your Colts, and then we're kind of running out of time. But I did want to get to at least the top 10 here, and we'll go through some quick thoughts here with some of the other teams. Saints at 11, high.
I mean,
to me, you're banking on a big time return, right? If you think Michael Thomas is Michael Thomas. Mm-hmm. Right. But we haven't seen him on the field in 2.5 years.
I don't see why he would, because he was never like, he's not the big play guy. He's literally mocked for being like the short route guy. But you can still be the short route guy and not be as explosive. It's whether his route running will be as crisp as it was and his hands will be as good as they were. If that is all there, then it makes sense. It's going to be a real boost for Jameis Winston. So I could definitely see them being good. I don't know if I'd put them that close to the top 10, but
Baltimore Ravens at 12. Look,
they should probably.
I like what they did with the defense. I know there's concern with the wide receiver group now without Marquise Brown. You obviously just have Bateman, DuVernay, one of the best tight ends in football, though, and Mark Andrews, like we just talked about earlier, a healthy Lamar. But this is a team that was ravaged by injuries last year, and with Tyler Huntley, he still almost made the playoffs. I mean, this is a good team and always well coached with Harbaugh.
Yeah, exactly. And they're a good team. They hopefully will not have the injury bug bite them. And the fact that they were even competing at all last year with all the injuries that they had, if they bring those guys back, they're only going to get better. And with Lamar at the helm, I do believe that Lamar is one of the top quarterbacks in the league. He does things that no other quarterback can do. And I think that they should probably be a little higher. I think they're being undersold here just because of what they did last year, but that was with, a depleted roster.
Right. The Niners at 13, there is some talk that Jimmy Garoppolo will be traded, so this is assuming Trey Lance will be the starting quarterback. The Niners are always there. They're well coached. I do have some reservations, though, especially if Trey Lance is the quarterback. I think I'd knock them down a little bit. The Denver Broncos at 14. I'm really high on Denver this year. I think that and I said last year that they were a quarterback away. And now they got the quarterback. I think they could be this year's Rams, if you know what I mean. They could be this year's Rams. They could be this year's Tampa Bay Buccaneers. These teams that just needed that quarterback to get them over the hump. I mean, really, the last 2 Super Bowl champions, the Bucs and the Rams, were 2 teams a quarterback away. They go and trade for him or acquire him. Brady wasn't traded for. And they took him over the top. Broncos are that team this year for me.
That wide receiver core is going to get a huge boost in fantasy and stuff. It's off the charts how much better it's going to be than with Drew Lock or whatever.
Stop telling everybody. Shut up.
I know. I'm not mentioning names. I'm just saying.
Up. God, we're gonna give away all our secrets.
We're gonna talk about our secrets anyway in a couple weeks.
Colts are at 15
next week.
Smack middle.
Which is exactly where I said that they should probably be. At 15 until they prove themselves. I'm okay with them being there. I mean, we're relying on the rookie Alec Pierce to come in. The wide receiver room's shaky. You don't really know outside of Pittman. Pittman is an undisputed number 1, and I think that he's going to have a great season. Easily over 1,000 yards, probably pushing to 2,000 yards. I don't think he'll get there, but I think just because he's going to be the guy, I think that they're going to rely on him a lot. You still have your guys. You have a new quarterback who say what you will about Matt Ryan. I still think he's going to be an upgrade over Carson Wentz. He will make the better decisions. He will make the checkdowns, which were there for Carson Wentz, and he chose not to make them. He tried to force it down the field. Matt Ryan will make those throws to, Hines or Jonathan Taylor underneath, and that's all we really need. And the defense is good. The defense got better. We added Yannick Ngakoue. We added Stephon Gilmore. We added Rodney McLeod. We're going to hopefully get Blackman coming back. So, yeah, I think we have – I think the best linebacker in football, although a lot of people somehow disagree, even though he turns the ball over more, or he gets turnovers more than any other linebacker. Shut the fuck up.
I don't know. I'm just laughing. I'm just laughing at what I'm going to get you for Christmas this year.
Oh, yeah? What are you going to give me for Christmas?
Carson Wentz Colts jersey.
Just so I can burn it? I am going to a Colts game, actually, this year, so that's exciting.
Are you? That's good. Which one?
Yeah. I'm going to their home opener against Kansas City. So,
ooh.
Yeah, it's going to be exciting. I figure, you go, and if they lose, at least I get to see Patrick Mahomes play. And if they win, I'll be surprised.
I saw the Eagles play the Chiefs last year. Eagles play the Chiefs last year.
Kind of the same deal. I'm like, okay, I'm okay if they lose. I'll be cool seeing them, and it's a home opener. So
as of now, we have 2 locked in. I'm going to see the Eagles Cowboys on Sunday Night Football. That's in October, and we're going to Chicago the week before Christmas to see the Eagles play out there. So obviously there's another game or two in there somewhere, but
the 26th of September home opener. I'll be there at Lucas Oil watching the Chiefs play.
Very nice. Very nice. Yeah. I love going to football games. Honestly,
I've never been to Lucas Oil, obviously. So I've actually never been to an actual football game.
You'll like Lucas Oil. You'll like Lucas Oil.
I know it's one of the best stadiums in all of
because I
one of
relax.
It is.
I was there.
Undisputed is. That's why they held the combine there every fucking year.
No, they hold it there because it's the middle of the country and it's by all the big.
It's a nice stadium.
And it's indoors.
Yeah, it's a nice stadium.
I was there for the Big Ten championship game. It is very nice. And Indianapolis is nice too. But yeah, look, if Matt Ryan can be that game manager, I just think it's so similar to Phillip Rivers that I think the whole point of getting Carson, look, it didn't pan out. And that's not what I'm saying. But the whole point of Carson Wentz was getting that Phillip Rivers type quarterback wasn't working. It just wasn't enough. And that's exactly what Matt Ryan is. Like, you're middle of the road, man. Middle of the road.
Obviously.
You'll be lucky to make the playoffs, and if you do, you're going to get smacked. If you're a quarterback away, they're a quarterback away.
In terms of making the playoffs, I have a little more faith because we play in the South, and since the Titans,
you're in a dog shit division.
Yeah, they're horrible. True. No one else is going to push us for it. I don't think Titans have always been the only competition these past few years. Anyway, it's not like Houston is coming and Jacksonville is going to come out of nowhere. I mean, honestly, I'm probably more scared about Jacksonville than anyone else because of certain players coming back, mainly ETN. I just think he's going to boost Lawrence's production just that much, just because like he's that guy that he can trust, that he played in college with, and I thought he was going to be good coming out before he got hurt. So I do think that their offense is going to be much improved, but I still obviously don't think that they have enough to compete. I hope anyway, but if they get there, I don't know. It depends on how well Matt Ryan plays. Like if Matt Ryan plays like last year, then obviously we're not going to go very far. We make the playoffs, we're not going to win. If he can play more like his MVP self, with more protection than he has had in the last like 5 to 10, not 10 years, 5 to 6 years. And if he can make the most out of the weapons that he has, I'm looking at big things from Neiman Hines. And I think the defense, I'm not worried about the defense on the Colts. I think they're going to be a top 10 defense easily.
Yeah, no, you have a good defense. You have a good defense. You'll be fine in that regard. Second half, some noticeables. Cowboys at 16. LOL. The Commanders at 17. Look, listen. No. We'll just we're not going to spend time on the Washington Commanders, but just no. Just absolutely not. The Patriots at 18. The fact that the Commanders are ahead of the Patriots in any ranking is comical to me.
Decided to steal, by the way.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
We knew that was coming, but
good, but expected. The Vikings at 19. Look, Kirk Cousins, it is what it is. A new system, new head coach. Titans at 20. There is still some hope. I mean, you do have Derrick Henry. You brought in Robert Woods. Granted, he's coming off a torn ACL. You drafted Treylon Burks, who's supposed to replace A.J. Brown. We'll see. The Raiders at 21, and I understand. See, I like this. Because a lot of people are buying into the Raiders, thinking they're going to go absolutely bonkers this year. The defense still sucks. Derek Carr is still Derek Carr. I am not buying in on the Raiders and Josh McDaniels until they prove me otherwise. They are always middle of the pack, always disappointing. That is what Derek Carr is. That is what he will always be. I get he has Devontae Adams, but I am not high on this Raiders. Sorry, Levac, but no.
I'm not exactly with you. I'm a little bit higher on them. I do think that Derek Carr is a good quarterback. Possibly he can make the top 10 of quarterback rankings if we were to rank them all. And having Devontae Adams is going to be a huge boost for them. I mean, they have, Devontae Adams, Hunter Renfrow, Darren Waller. Like, the offense should be rolling on all cylinders. And they should put up a lot of points. The defense leaves much to be desired, but they have a decent pass rush with Max Crosby. And so I do think that they have the potential to be a good team. I mean, defensively, like, if you have a good pass rush and they can really put pressure on the quarterback, that's sometimes all you really need to be at least a contending team. And so I do think that they're going to be a little bit better than these. I think they're going to be better than the Cowboys, for one. And they could be better than the Colts, depending on how the quarterback play goes for both teams. But I do think that the offense got a massive upgrade, obviously, with Devontae Adams, and I do trust that Derek Carr can do something with it. So I'm a little higher than you are on the Raiders, but still, they're not going to be pushing for that division just because that division is loaded.
Right. I get it.
Best they can hope for is a wild card.
I get the argument. I do. The Pittsburgh Steelers at 22. Look, they don't know who their quarterback is. Mitch Trubisky, Kenny Pickett. This Steelers is not the team that you expect it to be. They're not going to be very good. This I find interesting. And a lot of this is because of Hopkins' suspension. But the Cardinals down at 23. I find that surprising. Look, I'm not a huge believer in the Cardinals. I wasn't last year, and I'm not going to be this year. But they're better than 23. I think I'd have them ahead of teams like, I don't know, the Commanders.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. I mean, just look at the quarterbacks. Like,
I know,
have Carson Wentz or Kyler Murray. Like, there's no contest. Like, you'd obviously rather have Kyler Murray 100% of the time. What?
I'd rather have you.
Me?
Than Carson Wentz.
Oh, I was like, what? Yeah, no. I mean, seriously. So I don't see it. I know that Hopkins being out is a.
I think that's probably a big part of this.
I mean,
I would think
that's the only reason. Obviously, they fade in the second half. They seem to be a first half team, and then they fade. But
complete opposite of what you want to be.
Yeah, I know, but I'd still take Kyler Murray over almost like a bunch of quarterbacks. Like, he's also a guy who's maybe in the top 10 there. Yeah, and he's not 10, I don't think. So yeah, I don't see why they're that low. But not my rankings.
Nope, not my rankings either. The goddamn Jets are at 24. I mean, at this point, it is what it is, right?
They're just hoping for marginal improvements. That's all you can hope for.
Lions at 25. The LOL Giants at 26. The Panthers at 27. Baker or Sam Darnold, doesn't matter. Jaguars at 28. Kind of rooting for him a little bit because of Dougie P. The Seahawks at 29. Probably the last candidate for Jimmy Garoppolo. And the Chicago Bears at 30. With Falcons at 31. And then bringing up the rear, per usual, Houston Texans at 32. Man, it must be nice to be in the AFC South.
That's great. It's great.
Must be nice.
Hopefully it'll be nicer this year because hopefully like the Colts have no competition. Like I'm hoping Tennessee's awful and the rest of the teams are awful and we just run away with the division.
Awful. They are awful. It's all awful.
I know, but the Tennessee was not awful enough last year. I guess we were just slightly more awful than they were.
That's true. All right. That's true. All right, Taylor. Well, this was a fun hour and 5 minutes back together, and hopefully back together for the time being. I'm sure there will be a week here and there where it just doesn't happen, but we will make sure to get in the important episodes of August. I do promise you that. We should be back next week, barring any unforeseen circumstances. You could follow us on Twitter at ZBryce21 and at TLats. It has been on the ticker below this entire time. Also follow the show Twitter page at sports_podcast with a Z, of course. You can find us on Spotify and Apple and, of course, YouTube if you want to see our beautiful faces, which I know you do. And this was Sports with a Z and a T presented by Godzilla Media. And we are, of course, sponsored by Saving Face Barbershop up in Saratoga Springs, Johnstone Supply in Troy, and Mohawk Honda. And this was obviously a fun episode, and glad to be back into the swing of things. And hopefully we could keep this train going. But other than that, enjoy the rest of the week. Enjoy the heat wave. I mean, woo-wee. How about coming back from New Zealand to this stuff, Taylor?
Yeah, because in New Zealand it's winter time, so it's 40s. Sometimes we got down to like 30, high 30s.
Oh, hell no.
Not that low normally. I mean, the last day we had it was 60, so I mean it varies a lot. It was mainly 40s and 50s, but yeah, coming from that and then looking at the weather and being like, oh, high of 98 today. Like, oh, damn.
This is the stuff I live for. I love this stuff. I love this stuff.
Love hot weather.
I'm golfing on Saturday. It's supposed to be like 96. I love it.
I hate winter.
I love it. I mean, be at the track this weekend too. It's gonna be great. I love this.
I think we're kind of in the minority of people. Some people don't like it when it gets this hot.
And you know what? And I always say this to them: shut up. Would you rather this, or would you rather the -10 wind chill with the foot of snow out on the ground?
People's argument is always like, oh, well, in the winter you can put more layers on, and at summer, like at some point you run out of layers to take off. And I'm like,
no, you don't.
I'm like, well, not if you're a partier.
Yeah, not if you like to have a very good time.
But still, I'd still rather be sweating than be outside in shorts.
My bones hurt when it's cold.
Yeah, same.
It just hurts.
I hate
it. Just hurts. And it's just not comfortable. I hate it. I hate it. Everything. There's snow everywhere. There's slush. There's ice. I could slip and fall and break my neck. You don't want that. You don't want that. I'd rather look tan and like go out and enjoy myself and sit by the water and go to baseball games and sit at the track, go golfing,
go outside with no shoes on, just walk around like in.
Well, I don't do that.
In my backyard, like I'll go out and like just walk around like.
I was gonna say I don't.
Not track. Like no. No, but like just like because in the wintertime you gotta fucking put on God knows what to go outside.
Oh, I have my heat up to damn near 80 and I have 7 layers on. I hate the cold.
Exactly.
I hate the cold. I hate it. But
you have to you can't go on flip flops. You gotta you have to go out in boots some days because it's slushy out and crap.
Yeah, if it's like just warm enough where the snow's somewhat melting, it's terrible. It is gross. Absolutely horrible. But this was a great episode as always, and hopefully everybody is enjoying their summer. Continue to enjoy your summer. We will be back next week. Some more baseball, some more football, maybe some NBA. We'll see what happens in the sports world, and we will bring it back to you next week right here on Sports with a Z and a T. Have a good one, everyone.
See ya.